Once upon a time, there was an average American family living in an average American town. After the family moved, the father left his familiar carpool and began a long solo commute to work. And gradually, he began to change. He looked the same, he dressed the same, but something was very different. But this isn't a story about just one man. It's the story about a media phenomenon that changed a father and divided a nation.
Here's my dad with me when I was a baby. He really loved me. This was in Arizona where I was born. He was goofy, like a lot of other dads, I guess. My dad was a really fun dad. All the kids in the neighborhood really liked him because he was funny and told jokes and would play with us. He was a really good dad. He loved animals. He could always be counted on to help persuade my mom if we wanted another pet. For vacations, my dad took us on camping trips. It was a lot of fun. My mom didn't like it so much. She didn't really like roughing it, but we all still had a really great time. He came from humble roots. He never had any bad words about any race, people, or person. I remember this one time when we all went to New York. We got outside Port Authority, and there was an African-American homeless man, and he asked my dad for some money. My father gave him what was at that time a decent amount of money and called him sir. That made such an impression on me and taught me you treat everybody with respect. We weren't really a political family. My dad was a non-political Kennedy Democrat. But then, when he started listening to talk radio, I saw him change. A lot. You used to consider yourself a Democrat, right?
Yeah, before I knew anything, I had any sense. I was stupid then. I was listening to people who said, and bullshit, and they didn't know what they were talking about. Until then, I was fat, dumb, and happy.
I think I first noticed something different about him when I came down to visit. I was working in New York at the time. He picked me up at the bus station and was driving me back to the house. On the ride home, we passed a Hooters. He mentioned that he was really pissed off that some feminazis did not want women with their breasts hanging out to be working at Hooters. I said something like, well, maybe the feminists have a point. He was so mad, he threatened to pull the car over and let me hitchhike home. I was very surprised because I was thinking, I bet he never even walked into a Hooters before. He became really angry about stuff that I didn't know he ever even gave a thought to, like, Hooters.
Whether they're in jail or not, they are procreating their own kind.
That's why we should go in there and stop them before they destroy our country.
When we moved and he had a very long commute by car, he would listen to the radio on the long drive. Then he started to change.
The feminazis began their quest to make women more like men, dress like us, acquire power like us, have careers like us, all that.
Rush Limbaugh is one of my heroes. I agree with him in politics.
And then his Rush Limbaugh-loving buddy told him he could listen to more talk radio at night with a tiny portable radio and earbuds. But it would still disturb my mother, so he decided to move into the other bedroom. And then it got worse after he discovered Fox News. His new beliefs came first. It was almost like he joined a cult or had a new religion.
Frank is the family pest. He has to force his political views on all of us.
I did it Frank's way. It was his way or the highway when it came to politics.
I was not aware that Frank had strong political leanings one way or the other. It was just pretty much food and family was what he was interested in.
After emailing came in, yeah, then you get all kinds. I would get political emails too, but they were factual, bringing things up to date, where Dad's emails were hateful against Democrats, and he would forward them to me and the children and ask him, please, don't send these emails or I'll block you.
He started getting fanatical.
Oh, he would send some nasty email back like, F you, or you guys are full of S blank blank T.
I started getting his emails and I got 394 emails. I really thought there was somebody else other than Frank Senko sending these things. And in fact, he didn't author any of these. They were just, recycled things that he received from his other cronies. I was wondering what happened to Frank since the time I saw him.
I'd always thought that he was capable of deeply thinking about issues, but it was apparent at that point that it's not that he wasn't capable of it, he wasn't interested in it. And that to me was a dangerous signal.
Brain is not only being washed, as they say, just being dry cleaned.
So what did happen to Dad? Was he brainwashed? I didn't know. This went on for years. So I finally decided to make a film to figure it out.
Jennifer, is this your book?
Yes.
He's my hero.
Why is he your hero?
Politically, I agree with him beautifully. I always agree with him.
We knew better than to discuss politics together because it would just end in arguments and bitterness.
I had a Kickstarter campaign to raise some money, and before I knew it, people were coming out of the woodwork, contacting me from all over the country, telling me similar stories. And I thought, wow, this is a real phenomenon.
They just drummed into her what they wanted her to hear. She's a completely different person.
My brother became very fact resistant.
My reaction was, who are you and what have you done with my stepfather?
Disjointed existence.
And he was completely changed. He was bitter and angry.
At one point, he threatened to get a bus because
He
that was
became
challenging.
obsessed.
And she had never been like that.
He was carrying a small pistol.
She was not hateful.
Shot twice.
Broke my heart to see my parents.
Very loving and caring.
I feel I don't really know these people.
I mean, just goes on these tirades.
Fundamentally
I spoke with each one and found we all had one thing in common. Someone close to us became enraged and unreachable after excessively listening to or watching right-wing media. How did this happen?
The great story here for anybody willing to find it and write about it and explain it is this vast right-wing conspiracy.
Decades ago, I was a junior hippie. My big brother was the real thing with hair down to his waist. I witnessed and felt part of the social revolution happening at that time, and I believed our country was going in a more open direction. Years later, when Reagan came in, I could feel the country was shifting to a more